Hey everyone, Jeremy from the Snowboard Asylum, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at the 22-23 Nidecker Ultralight. As the flagship board of the Nidecker collection, the Ultralight is the pinnacle of high-end snowboard design and construction. Designed unashamedly to offer a zero-compromise high-performance ride, it's the ultimate snowboard for experienced riders who want the best freeride performance available. Built around a state-of-the-art directional shape, the Ultralight features a more extended, fuller diamond tip nose profile. This innovative shape gives outstanding lift and float at the front of the board, but it has a relatively low swing weight for increased feel and control. At the rear, the cutback tail helps drop the back end of the board in power, once again helping that deep snow performance. However, that shorter tail is also really powerful, which means you can just sit on it and drive into it at higher speeds. And it's got the power to whip you out of the carve. Now, to ensure that the Ultralight delivers the perfect freeride flex, it utilises the advanced 3D end construction. This innovative 3D milling process comprehensively profiles the core to ensure that power is directed to where it's needed. Channeling this energy to the right places results in a dynamic ride where everything is maximised to full effect, creating a lightning fast response and a level of control and stability that defies snowboarding norms. Now, internally, the high-end construction is formatted to combine weight saving with maximum power and control. The featherweight core and advanced structural layers ensure that no matter how hard or how fast you push the Ultralight, it's always got loads in reserve. So, if you're after a board that delivers outstanding performance in the power and when charging hard on piste, all roads lead to here. So let's take a look at the Ultralight in a little bit more detail and see why this stunning snowboard delivers such outstanding performance. And the starting point is obviously the shape. So a tapered directional shape basically means you've got a longer, fuller nose profile, slightly narrower cutback tail. That fuller nose profile gives great lift and float in the powder. It also helps the board really just blast through crud and chop. So when the terrain gets a little bit uneven, you're not going to have to back off on this board. It's just going to blast through everything. You've got 18 millimeters of taper. So that basically means the tail is 18 millimeters narrower than the nose. That taper just again gives that little bit of extra volume at the front end, but it also helps the tail sink back in the power. And again, just kind of making the board effortless to ride in powder. That taper also just means the carves are really progressive and really predictable as well. Setback stance, 30 millimeter setback on this. So again, giving that little bit more nose, but also kind of centering your weight kind of down towards the back end of the board a little bit more. And that means you can just sit on this tail in the carve and really drive it out. And that kind of shortened kind of excess there, contact point is just going to bite and really let you power out the back end of the board. Now, in terms of width, it's a kind of regular to just slightly kind of wider width. So the 61 comes in at 25.6. The 64, which is the wide, comes in at 26.4 centimeters. So even on the regular board, toe and heel at overhang shouldn't be too much of an issue. On pretty much a boot up to about a size 11. That means you can really get this board cranked over and you're not going to blow out the edges. Now, in terms of the side cut, it's kind of a mid-side cut, kind of mid to tight side cut. So the 61 comes in at 7.8 meters, the 64, 8 meters. That means the board's going to feel really lively on those short radius turns, and it's also going to feel really stable and powerful on long radius turns as well. So it's a perfect kind of size cut size, really to make the board versatile in all types of riding. In terms of profile, utilises freeride cam rock. So basically you've got a longer extended rocker at the nose that's just going to give you a little bit more lift and float, and it's just going to lift those contact points clear as well. Slightly short rocker at the tail, again just lifting that contact point clear for a predictable feel. But through the middle you've got a lively camber. That lively camber is going to let you compress that side cut down, and it's going to energize the side cut through its full length. That's going to give you tons and tons of grip and really make this board super stable at high speeds. Now, moving on to construction. It's construction that really makes this board something a little bit special. Heading up the Ultralight's construction is the light core. So that combines Popular and Paulownia. So Popular is the kind of bulk filler wood that gives it its strength and durability. Paulownia cuts the weight down and is used in areas that aren't that stressed. To that, they then add beech stringers. So beech is a harder, more dynamic wood, and that adds pop and power through the length. Now, as we spoke about in the intro, you've also got the 3D and milling process. And this is a really extreme milling process, and it's what makes this board so special. Now, if you notice on this, you'll see all this shaping here. And what this does is it reduces the thickness of the board or increases the thickness of the board in specific areas. And basically what it does, it puts thicker zones where you need the power and performance and thinner zones where you need the board to flex. By doing that, you can perfectly control where the flex of the board is. So if you look at these kind of thinner sections through the center here, what they do is just make the board a little bit softer in the center, but the thicker sections under the feet really kind of power up the edges under the feet, so you can actually really foot steer with this board, because it's going to flex a little bit more in the middle, so you can power and steer with your toes and heels. Slightly thinner sections here, getting thinner towards the tip and tail, again directing energy to where it's needed to maximize the performance. Right, on the tip and tail, you've also got the NTech 2.0 technology, which is, if you look at this, you've got a traditional sandwich board through the middle, and then when you get to their tips and tails, it turns into more of a cap. And what that does, you want sandwich construction to give you the most optimal edge pressure on there. So that's going to just transfer energy through that sidewall direct to the edges. At the tip and tail, where you want torsional stiffness, you use kind of the cap construction, because that creates a torsionally stiffer construction. So you're getting torsional stiffness at the tip and tail, which is going to make the board really lively. Having these areas torsionally stiffer just gives you great turn input and great turn exit. So it just makes the board more powerful without compromising the overall flex through the length. That tip and tail also use Nidecker's FreeFlex 3.0. This is kind of replaces traditional wood in the nose and tail and puts more of like a composite material in there. That composite is lighter and it's stronger as well. So it just adds strength and lightness to the board. Structural layers, triax plus glass. So that's a 45-degree triax with the glass running at 45 degrees across the board and along the length. That 45 degree is the torsionally stiffest glass you can get, and that gives the board all its power. On this board, it's the Triax Plus, so what the designers do is use different densities of 45 degree Triax through the length of the board to optimize that flex that you get through the NTech. And it's just all along, it's just maximizing the performance all of the time. Now, to those structural layers, they then add their BCK technology. And what BCK is, it runs basalt, carbon and Kevlar stringers from the insert pack to the tips. That powers up the tips and again adds more performance. So the carbon and the basalt add pop and power, but the Kevlar just dampens them out. With such a stiff board, it's very easy to have the tips flexing a little bit too much when you're charging along. You'll get high speed vibrations. Just by adding the Kevlar strips in there, it just dampens out that vibration and just means the board is smoother and the edges work more efficiently. Then to that, they add the carbonate top sheet. This carbon top sheet adds pop and power through to the board. It's not just there to seal it off, and it's not just there to carry the graphics. It's there as a structural part of the board to add additional performance. Underneath the base is 9,000 sintered nano base. So it's a really, really hard, tough base, and it's super fast. It also has carbon nanoparticles in there as well, which are going to help work disrupt the static electricity buildup on the base and make it super fast in all snow conditions. So there you have the Nidecker Ultralight. If you're after the ultimate hard charging freeride board, a board that's going to blow your mind no matter how hard and fast you ride it, you really need to be putting this on your shopping list.